Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto Will is your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have, as usual, a great show for you. We have a lot of things to talk about. But before we even get started, we need to let you know one important factor. The Republicans are at it again. Number one, we have Senator Johnson now that is going to open some sort of a investigation on Ukraine and the Bidens, the Bidens, okay? Well, we know that's going to go nowhere. But secondly, we have now that over 600 sorting machines around the country are set to be replaced, or not replaced, removed. So it's getting serious, it's getting tight, it's getting real. So what I'm asking you folks, before we even get started, because we're going to get started with the program in a minute, I want to ask you to do two things for me. Numero uno, please immediately share this program on your wall. If you're on Facebook, please share it on your wall. Please share it on your page. Please share it everywhere, because that is how we make a difference. That is how we put a dent in what we need to get done. Secondly, if you're on YouTube as well, please share it along on, let other folks know about it. And please as well, go ahead on Twitter, tweet it. And those of you who are on Periscope, please do that as well. We need your support. If we are going to get this stuff done, if we're going to get all the things that we need to get done in form above and beyond what we have from the mainstream media, you are the ones who are going to make it happen. We have a full show again today. You can call in as well. Oh, let me put the call-in number on the screen. The call-in number is 346-248-7799. The code is 254-9091. If you're on the blog on the Facebook page, you can actually find it there. But what I'm going to do right now is I am going to go ahead and put that information in the feed, so you should be able to see it on YouTube. You'll be able to see it on Periscope, and in all the other places. Well, somehow we got logged out of the chat. So I'm going to have to log back into the chat, and that takes authentication and all of that. So I'm going to take the program out of sequence so that I can do that. Anyhow, let's go ahead and continue with the program, and then I'll go ahead and go ahead and link in again to our chat. Anyhow, folks, let's see. Let me make sure I get all these things queued up. Thank you for being here. Please stay with me. Again, I ask you to please share. We do need you to share more than ever, because as you can see, folks are not playing. They really want this election rigged. And if they want this election rigged, we are in trouble. Anyhow, actually, we're not in trouble. I'm saying that wrong. Title of the show today: GOP doesn't give a damn. Punked by Trump. Liar called out. Party with functional level of ignorance. To move forward, we have to acknowledge the genesis of our problems, as well as call out the realities of Trump and others trying to hoodwink Americans. We do that today. Most of Congress has left Washington till September. They've left Americans stranded. Speaker Pelosi schooled a reporter who attempted to change the narrative. A Huffington Post reporter finally asked the president the most important question he has ever heard. Former GOP chair Michael Steele called out the GOP for opening themselves to be punked by Trump once again. Former Republican David Jolly explained why he left the party and problems that affect the sycophant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out of order. I'm going to go ahead and take that last one first with David Jolly, and then we'll take it from there. So let's go with David Jolly. But beforehand, folks, remember, my book is out. It's worth it. It's worth it. How to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors. Please go ahead. You can get it at Amazon, or you can get it at our store. Please go ahead. It's worth it. How to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors. It is worth it. The title of the book is It's Worth It. And I'm telling you, it's worth getting the book. So please go ahead and get the book. But anyhow, let's go ahead and get started with Brother Jolly here. David Jolly, former Republican congressman from Florida, went on Joyanne Reid and had an interesting statement to make. Let me go ahead and put that out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
But David, he does lead some people. He leads these governors. The governors of Texas, Arizona, and Florida do whatever he says. The governor of South Carolina, they are the people he leads. And they're testing less. They're testing less at a time when we're averaging 50,000 cases a day. Does it make you suspicious when you also have Mr. DeSantis, Governor DeSantis, giving an address and likening reopening schools to the Navy SEALs going in to get Osama bin Laden, making it sound like it's some sort of heroic military operation, saying he's quoting someone else who did that? Are you worried that the governors of these Republican states will test less in order to make the numbers look better for Trump?
I do. And I worry that governors of states like Florida and Texas are going to jeopardize the public health of the citizens who live within the state. Look, one of the reasons that people like myself have left the Republican Party is because the party chose to elevate people who operate politically with a functional level of ignorance. They ignore science and they jeopardize the health of people simply for their own political benefit. Donald Trump cannot win this election if it comes down to how the pandemic was handled. So they have to ignore the reality and create a separate reality. Donald Trump is a populist, and populism can be a very dangerous tool in the midst of a national crisis. He tries to distract people by talking about opening schools and letting kids play football, when he knows that at the end of the day, what it will do is jeopardize people's health. We're seeing that from governors like DeSantis as well.
Let me tell you something. First of all, the party chose to elevate people who operate politically with a functional level of ignorance. Now, what I think he should have said is a functional level of willful ignorance. I am concerned about one thing, and it starts this way. I got an email from one of the places where I write. I write not only at my blog sites, but at several other large liberal and progressive sites. And interestingly, they had to demote a particular writer because this writer came with a crazy conspiracy theory on COVID-19. And this writer is a very intelligent person. And but what I noticed, though, is that there is such well-designed propaganda made to mislead, where you have to leave yourself open for willful ignorance to keep it in, to not accept it, because these things are so well produced. There was a video going around with an anti-vaxxer who tried to make the case for chloroquine and all these other drugs, and tried to make the case that COVID wasn't as bad as it really is. It wasn't a complete systemic attack for those who are susceptible to that virus. But again, what's happening is we have to get more people strong-headed not to fall or be scared not to fall for these theories, or for being a subject of the president as well. As Joyanne Reid said there, a lot of the governors are following him. Do they really believe what the president is saying, even though the president is a bona fide liar, or are they scared? It doesn't matter which one. They're causing the deaths of their citizens. So when you have Republicans leaving the party, when you have the Lincoln group and all these other people working against the president, we have to give those people space. We have to give them the encouragement and respect the fortitude that it took them to leave that domain, to leave where they were, to be able to stand up and say, I will no longer fall for the crap, and I won't leave myself open to do that. But most importantly, what they're doing is they're giving those like themselves, those others that were in that dimension with them, it's given them the authority, it is given them the permission to leave the madhouse. It is given them the permission to join the fold of the thinkers. It is given them permission to say, free at last from being a sycophant that is causing harm, pain, and deaths to the American citizenry. And I really mean that. I mean, I really mean that. But what David Jolly did there, and I think we're starting to have a whole lot of David Jollies with the Lincoln Project, with the Vote Vets, and all these other guys that normally would associate themselves with the Republican Party. They're now coming on board, realizing that something has to be done. The thing about it is, Donald Trump is not holding back. It's not sitting back down and say, "Oh, all these Republicans are against me. How can I build a new base to actually bring more people into the fold?" Well, here's the kicker. Here's the sad thing, right? The sad thing is that there's nothing he can do to grow his base, but there is, in fact, something that he can do to reduce the amount of people that are voting, meaning what he's doing with the post office right now. The pandemic, people look at the pandemic and they say, oh, the pandemic was a bad thing for Donald Trump. The economy was going very fine, and if the pandemic had not come, the economy would have been just fine and all these things. I want everybody to get off of that bandwagon. And when you're out there promoting that people need to vote in the progressive direction, I want you to remind people about this. This is very, very important. The economy, the real economy, was about to crash. Okay? I want you to listen to this very well. The real economy was not doing well at all. The real economy was being held up by the feds. And how did they do that? I want you guys to, we covered it a few weeks ago, or probably a few months ago. There's this thing called the repo market. It is where loans are made between banks or the Federal Reserve to cover the books at the end of the night, given that at the end of the night, all banks have to be solvent, meaning all your books have to add up. Whatever you loan out, you have to have the back end of that as well. Well, what happened then is those prices skyrocketed, and the only reason those prices skyrocketed is impending disaster coming. And what Trump and his feds did is they said, we can't allow that to happen. So if private banks are not going to lend you the monies that you need at these low interest rates, in other words, they were charged. There's one time the one-day rate got to 10%. Think about what a 10% money rate to borrow money at 10% for a bank really means, right? When it's normally 1.2, 2% sort of a thing. Anyhow, so what happened is the government started to that is when we started to get socialism for corporations again, right? Socialism for corporations again. So what happens then is we needed then to go ahead and tell people that don't believe it's just the coronavirus that's caused this market crash. When I say market, I'm not talking stock market. I'm calling economic crash. It was going to happen anyway. And this economic boom that you see here is them taking advantage of this coronavirus to have unloaded a lot of people, to have unloaded a lot of debt, to have a whole lot of companies, meaning small businesses, to close down. Let's give an example. Amazon. Amazon is now worth a hell of a lot more. Why? Because a lot of mom and pops that people would normally buy from, nobody's buying from them anymore because they're closed. And who takes up the slack? Amazon. The same thing with mom and pop grocery stores and mom and pops little stores. They are not open anymore. So that means more of that business go to the big guys. So when you go on the stock market and you see what's traded on the stock market, it's all the big companies. You don't see mom and pop around the store on the stock market. So that doesn't have any value in rising the stock market, whether they fail or not. Right? But if they fail, their business goes somewhere. And the only place for it to go is to the people, the big corporations. So coronavirus was not a big, everybody look at coronavirus and say, oh, it is bad for the economy. Coronavirus is bad for the middle class. Coronavirus is bad for the small business person. Coronavirus is bad for those people in need. Coronavirus is great for a lot of corporations, because it gives them the excuse to unload people without having to pay the penalty of unloading. They can just say it's because of coronavirus. And it also gives them the opportunity to take business away from all the mom and pop stores that are closing down. And when a mom and pop store closes down, how long do you think it takes for us to bring back up a free enterprise structure again that you can be a part of, that you can decide that you're going to form a small business to do it? But now if you're competing to Amazon, who can buy carnation milk in bulk and you can only buy 10 at a time, and they get the breaks, There's a whole lot of structural problems within our economy that prevents the small person to get ahead. Don't let anybody fool you that, oh, capitalism is great, because you are inherently at risk. You are inherently at the bad side. And it's important for you to know that. Now, when David Jolly comes in and he talks about what is happening, about the ignorance of his party, these are the issues. When he talk about, what did he call it? I forgot what kind of ignorance he called it. But when you talk about these issues, all these sensible issues that we should be talking about, nobody wants to. Okay, let me give an early hello, but I usually don't do it here. But hello, Brige, how are you doing today? Lawrence Sims, how are you doing? And Rose Williams. And Brige says, politics, it says, this is happening in Manhattan now. I can believe it. Mailboxes being thrown in the back of a truck to be hauled away. Now, who is doing the mail? I got an email from somebody that responded to my newsletter. And that's what they told me. I asked them to send me some of the videos where they saw that, because I'd really like to hear exactly where that is coming from. So, Brige, if you have links to the video of that as well online or whatever, please go ahead and send it to me. But yeah, it seems like the attack on the post office at I'll be wow, the trucks. I'll tell you something. I'll be frank, I thought the attack on the post office wasn't going to be necessarily real. And the reason I thought that initially is Trump is not foolish enough to do this. We're talking now something that can really, you're messing with a constitutional thing. And it won't only upset Democrats, it will upset everybody. So I don't think he would do that. That was my first thought. He wouldn't do that. And then I started getting all these emails. I got that email that talked about moving things around. But then again, if you have somebody like this, you never know what can occur. Anyhow, folks, yesterday, something great happened. Something that needs to happen more often. If we had done this back in 2016, early, guess what? We would have not had a President Trump. I want to play you this, and then we'll take it on the other side. This is funny. Check this out.
Mr. President, after 3.5 years, you regretted all the lying you've done to the American people. On
all
everything.
The what?
All the lying, all the dishonesties.
That who has done?
You have done. Tens of
Yeah,
thousands.
go ahead, please.
Mr. President, after 3.5 years, you regretted all the lying you've done to the American people. On
all
everything.
The what?
All the lying, all the dishonesties.
That who has done?
You have done. Tens of
Yeah,
thousands.
go ahead, please.
You regretted all the lying you've done to the American people. On
all
everything.
The what?
All the lying, all the dishonesties.
That who has done?
You have done. Tens of
Yeah, go
thousands.
ahead, please.
Now, folks, tell me, please, if that was not a thing of beauty. The man was completely shocked. You notice when he said, "Who is that?" It is almost like, you are not crazy enough to ask me that question. You're not really talking about me. Who is it that you really mean? Who do you really mean is a liar? Please tell me. Who do you mean is a real liar? Daniel Ledo, why is he a disgraceful journalist? Doesn't Donald Trump lie all of the times? Don't you know what comes out of his mouth more than not is a lie? And if you don't know that what comes out of Donald Trump most of the times is a lie, Mr. Ledo, then I must question I won't say the word, but I must question that. Because I think everybody who knows Donald Trump, anybody who listens to Donald Trump, anybody who knows what's going on in the world, anybody who's reality-based, know that Donald Trump is a bona fide Liar. I don't even think we need to discuss that too long. But anyhow, what I really wanted to say, folks, is I thought it was wonderful that we actually had a reporter who said and went out there, and he knows that he probably will never be let into the White House again. So he had to be a martyr to drop on the stake and ask that question. What I'd like to start happening going forward is I would like to see every day a new reporter ask the same question. Why are you lying to the American people? Every day. And that one lawyer will, one journalist will not be allowed in the White House again. But I mean, think about it. We'll go through them, and eventually we'll be left without reporters in the White House, and America would be better for that. Because to have to cover Donald Trump is like saying, I have to lie to the American people when I'm reporting the news. And I don't think that's a good thing for journalism. I don't think it's a good thing for journalism that in order to cover El Señor Trump, you must lie. So, so I thought that was wonderful. Okay, we're a little bit less than half of the show now. So what I want to do is I want to make my my pitch real quickly. Then we'll go into the other part of the show with Nancy Pelosi and Michael Steele. Welcome aboard, Kathy Courtney. Welcome aboard. Well, I think I shouted out to Bridge already. Bruce Pollard, Sharissa Ward Spencer, welcome. Rose Williams, welcome. Daniel Ledo, welcome. Lee Grant, welcome. Rose William, welcome. Who else is here? Lawrence Sims, welcome. Thank you guys all for being here. Love you all, both my lefties and my righties. I think we don't have a good society unless we have us all. And that, by the way, notice what my book is. It's worth it. How to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors. It's out. Please go ahead and get the book. I'm going to put the link in the. I'm putting the link in the feed right now. There's a link to the new book, the Amazon link. You can go get it. You can either get a hard copy or you can get Kindle or anything in between. We're going to have it at our we have it at our website as well, but we don't have the books in stock right now. So, you know, what can I say? Whoa, Trump just broke. I'll take up that stuff on Israel a little bit later, my friend. Anyhow, folks, Politics Done Right is a program that needs your support, and I'd like to ask you. This is going to be real quick today. I'd like to ask you to please visit politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. politicsdoneright.com/Patreon.com. That is how you can become a subscriber to our show. You know, this is a day. For those of you that are new, this is a daily show. We do this every day between 3 and 4 Central Standard Time. On Tuesday, we are also, we do 2 shows on Tuesday because we're also on KPFT 90.1 FM Houston, 90.1 FM Houston. And by the way, if you can also support Houston at KPFT. You can KPFT at kpft.org. You can also support us, folks, by going to politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. Again, that is politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. They allow us to take subscriptions on Facebook now, and you can do that by going to politicsdoneright.com/Facebook, politicsdoneright.com/Facebook, and of course, you can visit what? Our store. And our store is at politicsdoneright.store, where you can get things like our cup, the Politics Done Right cup, and we also have a lot of different cups, a whole bunch of different cups. We have things like, we have cups that say, I'm independent media, I support independent media. We have cups that also have the squad on it, and much of those other things as well. We also have things like my book, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, my weight loss book. You guys know I've had my weight loss problems, as well as the new book, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors. So, folks, please support the show. We could not do this without you. And more than ever, all of us that are doing this, we need to be out there more and more and more. And anybody else who think they want to do this stuff as well, anybody else who wants to do this stuff as well, just go ahead and contact me, because I'm also writing another book that says how to become a blogger. And it's not only a political blogger, it's all that kind of a stuff. Okay, let's continue with the show. Nancy Pelosi, as you know, most of the politicians have left Washington. They're gone. They're gone. Nancy's still in Washington, but a lot of them are already gone. Americans are in dire straits. I mean, I have friends in Portland, I have friends in San Antonio, I have friends in Dallas. All these major cities, there are long food lines. You don't see it on TV every day. Every so often you may see it on local news. Every so often you may see it on national news. But Americans are in dire straits. You can't have 15 million Americans that just lost their jobs or that are still collecting unemployment and others that are not. We can't have that gig, all those folks that work in the gig economy that are no longer making any money. We can't have them not having a job and somehow think things are still okay. We can't have all those, I mean, things are just not okay. Here's the deal. I had a program a few days ago called The Depression Will Not Be Televised. And the reason why it's not going to be televised is the plutocracy, the oligarchy, the big shots, the rich folks, as they make sure that as we recover from the coronavirus, as we recover, that we don't try to ask for too much, that we don't see that we really need Medicare for all, that we don't see that we need basic income, that we don't see that we need all these progressive policies that we've been fighting for year after year after year, because we know the way our economy is structured, that's the only way we can have an egalitarian society where all have equal access to success. The only way. But the rich folk don't want you to know that there are people in dire straits. And they don't want you to know that, because when you see who the people are that are currently in dire straits, you are going to look down and you're going to say, that could be me. Why don't we do something so that I am not like that I don't get there? So people always wonder, during the Depression in the 29, everybody could see it. You had people, they weren't dressed in too clean clothes, or they were in soup lines and all of that. We don't have the soup lines anymore. We have the food pantries, and we have people line up in big parking lots where they drive through and get boxes of well-prepared meals for a week, that sort of a thing. So the plutocracy is doing its work. Those food banks currently have a fairly good supply of food. In fact, I've been thinking, wow, they have a lot of food. You know, I mean, it's not the food bank like the Houston Food Bank only. They are all over the place, the food bank. So they don't want, the people who need it, just the people who need it, they know about it. But the average American citizen is not seeing the dire straits that everybody else is in. And if they don't see that, they don't say, we need policy changes, which we need. So their ask is a lot less, which means the pilferers can continue their huge pilfer. So all these politicians are out of Washington now. And Nancy Pelosi is giving her interview as far as why the deal for the stimulus that's going to give Americans some money to hold them over till the economy recovers. Why is it that, well, she's not willing to make a deal? I want you to listen to this and then we'll take it on the other side. You know, Nancy Pelosi, a lot of people love to hate Nancy Pelosi because Nancy Pelosi is really a neoliberal woman. Yeah, she's progressive, but not as progressive. She has a hint of neoliberal, well, not a hint, a strong piece of neoliberalism in her, which most of us that are total progressives don't like. But the woman is good. And the woman is powerful. And the woman knows politics. That is the most, in my humble opinion, the most powerful politician in Washington, the most knowledgeable politician in Washington is this woman, Nancy Pelosi.
It's no wonder we have a vast difference because this administration and the Republicans in Congress have never understood the gravity of the situation. They called it a hoax. By miracle it would go away. No, they are the hoax.
Do you feel that even a half a loaf in this situation, something to stem the crisis would be better than
you don't
nothing?
Understand nothing. $2.50. This is not half a loaf. This is not even being in the same room. I appreciate the goodness that you asked that question with. Perhaps you mistook them for somebody who gave a damn. That isn't the case.
That is powerful. That little segment is powerful. And I think that message should be all over the place. And that's why I went ahead and put it on Daily Kos. I went ahead and put it everywhere. That reporter, I don't know if that reporter is just maybe uninformed or why that reporter asked that question. That reporter may not have understood history of how Republicans negotiate, which means let's just go ahead and work on what we agree on, and then we'll continue to negotiate all the other things. When working on what you agree on with them is what they want, and they want nothing else. In other words, you must capitulate to them, and after you've capitulated to them, there's no more negotiations because we've gotten all that we've wanted. We've gotten all that we want. So there's no more negotiation. It's essential that people understand that. And Nancy Pelosi, that is what she understood right there. Nancy Pelosi, bar none, is the most powerful, the best politician in Congress, in anywhere right now. And I'm talking, and notice I didn't say the best female politician or the best, I said the best politician. There's a lot more history with Nancy Pelosi. When Obamacare was on fumes, when Obamacare was going to collapse, because it was going to collapse, the person who came up with an ingenious manner in saving, Nancy Pelosi. All right, she is the one who saved the Affordable Care Act. So yes, Obama was the president who signed it. Obama was the president that delegated that we have universal health care. The person who made sure that even after they've lost their not veto proof, but their filibuster proof Senate, the only person that could have figured out how to get it done, the machinations by splitting it into two, one that could be done with reconciliation and one that was already voted on by the Senate. I mean, it was a thing. It was a move of art, what Nancy Pelosi did to get Obamacare into law. And I don't think a lot of people appreciated. In fact, I thought a lot more should have been made on how she made that actually happen. But anyhow, so what Nancy Pelosi is saying is true. We cannot listen to them. And even the president is starting to cave, right? The president gives a news conference today and he says, well, you know what we're going to do then is we are going to I'll give the post office the money. And I want to give X amount of dollars. In other words, he's starting to tell the Democrats, I kind of want to negotiate. You guys are running, and America's going to start blaming. But here's the deal. What they don't tell you is, now when Breach tells me that she already see mailboxes moving or whatever, and we already get reports of sorting machines being removed, I think the ante has to be up now. It's not only about money for the post office. It's about making sure all those equipments are reinstalled. It's make sure all those equipments are reinstalled and functional. Because what they're trying to do is steal the election. Donald Trump actually saw a report that said 61% of his people are going to vote in person. 80% of Democrats are going to vote by mail. He saw that and he said, wow, 60 of my people, 80 of theirs going to vote by mail. Hey, that's a 40-point difference. I could still win this thing if I cheat. So we have to be very careful on what's going on going forward. Anyhow, on the last subject that we need to talk about, it's about David Jolly. You know, guys, David Jolly is a former Republican from Florida. And he had a statement that he used on Joyanne Reid yesterday that I thought was prescient. And I said, when I saw that, I'm like, I got to incorporate that one into the show today, because a lot of progressives, a lot of conservatives watch the show as well. And I need somebody who is not a pinko progressive liberal like me to show these guys. Folks, for those of you who are on YouTube, remember that you can give us a super chat if you want to support the program. Let's go ahead and play David, and then we'll take it on the other side. Where is David? Let's see, where's David? I think this is David. Oh, no, we played David already. The person that I really want to play is the other Republican, which is Michael Steele. Michael Steele had something prescient to say because, they were trying to bring up the birther issue again. Let's go ahead and get Michael into the game. I don't think I've ever seen Michael Steele this upset. Well, the Trump administration and his sycophants are starting the birther thing on Kamala Harris, and I think this time around they're not going to let it fly. But it really started with what Newsweek did. Newsweek published an article that it simply should have rejected. But check this out.
Michael, let's be clear. A couple people get assist on that goal the president tried to shoot into the net just now. The reporter who teed up the question as she did, the lawyer guy who wrote the op-ed column for what remains of Newsweek to get it out in the bloodstream and then cause a debate about a non-question, a question that's been established, as Mara said, and answered. Does this mean to you that they've got no other game?
We should all be disgusted by the unmitigated racist, ignorant stupidity to sit there and pretend, oh, I just heard this. Oh, yeah, this is a great lawyer. Yeah, he's a good lawyer. This is the kind of stuff that this campaign, this country, this time cannot tolerate. America, I've talked to you about being punked. If you're going to get punked on this, then you deserve what you get. And it says a hell of a more about you than it does Donald Trump. So just to stop this right now, let's not give it one more moment of credence, air, or viability. Leave it alone. Not another story should be written about it. Kill it where it is.
I'm going to give a little sort of a psychological message. If person A and there's person B. If person A does the same thing as person B, but they have different attributes, and for that same thing, you judge person A differently than person B, what it is you are simply looking for a reason to justify your own prejudices, to judge person B more harshly than person A, or than you would have otherwise judged person A. I want you to think about that during this election and going forward. When the former chairman talks about being punked, when Michael Steele speaks about America being punked, yes, America was punked, but America was willfully punked. In other words, they were just looking for a reason to charge. I'm going to tell you a little story about Barack Obama. I remember when Barack was running, I simply said, at that time I was a Hillary Clinton supporter, not a Barack Obama supporter then. I never thought Barack Obama had a chance. But I started going to all these House meetings, and I saw all these people of every race, every class. They were adoring Obama. They were reading his book, and their children were bringing his stuff in, and children's faces were painted and everything. And I said to myself, my God, this is dangerous, because he won't live up to that expectation. And I don't mean that he won't do a good job. What I meant is a lot of these people that fell for him then, when the time is right, they are going to be looking for the first reason to give them permission to resort to the status quo. And that is exactly what happened with Obama. A lot of these people that loved him, a lot of these people that did, they just needed that trigger. And there are people who work on psychology to do that. And it same happens with Kamala Harris. A lot of people see how competent she is. Look, I am not a Kamala Harris fan, but she is a competent woman, and she would make a good president, a good regular American president. But folks are trying to look for that trigger that's going to say, well, then it's okay because of this to hold on to Donald Trump. Give me the trigger that's necessary to justify that I can still have a legitimate reason for going with Donald Trump. The psychology of the American psyche is something we have to work towards in a continuum until we really change not only the mind psyche, but the psyche here. I'm Egberto Willies, host of Politics Done Right, an independent news program. I post several news videos. Okay, there we go. All right, I hope you kind of like what we had to hear from Brother Michael, but it's like I said, it's a lot deeper than that. And you know, Donald Trump is recycling a lot of stuff from 2016. And there's one thing that got to me, what Michael Steele had to say, right? Michael Steele said, don't be punked again. If you are punked again, it's really not about Donald Trump. It's really about you. And that is sort of what I wanted to extend and talk about later on when you heard me after he said that. Because at some point, America is going to have to look in the mirror and say, this is who we are. And the good feeling that I have right now is that America is, in fact, looking in the mirror, and America is, in fact, saying, we don't like necessarily all that we are seeing. And when I look at all those protests out there, I am like overjoyed because, you know, the protests look everything. I mean, the protests look like America. Everybody's out there. You know, America, you know, I mean, you know, there's this crazy, what's her name? She's a black woman that's on the right. She put out all these videos attacking other black folk and other people and liberals and all of that. Candace, what's her name? Candace Owen. You know, when people just about made George Floyd a martyr, she's like, oh, he has a criminal record and he's this and there's no reason they should be holding him up and that's a problem, you know, holding somebody up. Well, you know something? The knee on his neck and his death actually did in fact unleash a reckoning in America. And Americans looked in the mirror and they said for once, wow, if a person is able to, with many cameras in his face knowingly and still murder another citizen. And this is something that these same citizens have been talking about day after day, year after year, decade after decade, generation after generation. They've been saying this is what's happening. And whenever we see the shootings, we see it after the fact. Whenever we see all these other things where these particular bodies are attacked or murdered, we see it after the fact. So there's some plausibility to the argument or the discussion that the cops are making. But not this time. This time, live streamed, watching it. People could see exactly what happened. People would say, oh, but wait a minute. Wasn't Philando Castile's murder live stream? Nope. That live stream came after the murder. So, America saw what many of us have been talking about for decades, for generations. And they said, that is not us. But you see, we always knew that wasn't America. We always knew that. The problem is in America, the people that do the bad things get a lot of notoriety, right? And we have the mythology that cops are good. We have that mythology. Cops are good. It's a mythology. When you want to be a cop, there are two kinds of cops. There are cops that believe in law and order, and then there's a majority of cops who just want power over people. And those who want power over people, Those are the ones that go out there and kill, maim, and do everything else. But the problem is the good ones stay quiet, so then they are just as bad. Now Austin, now Seattle, they've gotten the message. They have decided that they are now going to cut the budgets and put the money where it belongs. Put the money into providing services that help people. All of that comes from what you guys are doing. All of that comes from your activism. All of that comes from your letter writing. All of that comes from your contacting the people, from going in the streets, from doing all these things. We could not do this without you. Activism is real. And even if you're making one phone call once a month, we have 300 million plus people in this country. And just activating a few every so often changes things. All right, let me go ahead and start talking to my peeps. Okay, start sending me messages or give me a call, whichever one. If you want to call, you can call in at 346-248-7799. Again, that is 346-248-7799. ID 254-600-9091. And if you want, I can go ahead and place that link because I know not everybody is seeing the video. So what I'll do is I'll also place that link in the feed. And here is that link, I believe. Let's see, where is that link? And there's that link in the feed. So you can either come in from the computer, you can come in from your phone, you can click on that link from your phone if you want to, and you'll get a Zoom call as well. So there are many ways to get into us, my brothers and my sisters. Anyway, let's start dealing with the questions. Chat is back up. That's me. Let's see. Breach. Politics done right with Egberto. This is happening in Manhattan now. Mailboxes being thrown in the back of a truck to be hauled away. Like I said, if you have the video, please go ahead and send that video to me. I'd like to go ahead and publicize that to let Americans know exactly what's happening. Rose says, if you must mail in your ballot, identify the most affluent white suburb in your area and mail your ballot from the post office in that city. Rose, how are you going to get the mess? 2 days in a row, you get the message of the day. Come on, Rose. Stop hogging message of the day, Rose. You know I love you, Rose. All right, Bridge, our copy editor, that is. Bridge, Rose, I live on Long Island, maybe this area, 12 years, mixed area. But oh my God, racists and Trumpers, and we are not getting mail. Wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense, Bridge. You are in a Trumpist area and you're not getting mail? Then those Trumpists out there are going to get crazy and they're going to get mad. They're going to say, wait a minute. The bad things that you do affect me too. Wow. Anyhow, Rose Williams says, amazing. That's so crazy. And Rose also points out the truth. It's a federal offense. If it's not one of the employees removing the thing, that is, Rose, but it could be that their boss told them we want to take down those mailboxes. If that is the case, they don't have a choice. Lee Grant, if the mail service slows, we will get a lot less junk mail. And the veterans will not get their medicines, and a lot of people who still get paper checks will not get their paper checks and so forth. You see, we can't do that. Now, Daniel calls me a disgraceful pose journalist. I think Daniel believes I'm a disgraceful pose POS journalist. You know what POS means, right? Piece of, you know what. So I guess that's what I just got labeled. I'm sorry you feel that way, Daniel. I still love you, Daniel. I know you get your rocks off by just going ahead and criticizing me and attacking me or whatever. Bless you, brother. All right. Rose says, well, it's still a federal offense, but the feds are making it happen. I like that one. Okay. Let's see. British, awesome reporter, but what was the reply? There was no reply. He pointed to the other person. He went to the other person, British. He told the other person, he ignored the question completely and went to the other reporter. It's amazing. I thought it was great. All right, Charissa Ward Spencer, he is for sure a liar, and he repeats the lies so much that people believe his BS. That's what I try to tell progressive. You know, if you repeat something often enough, people start believing. That's why I notice I said we. When we talk about things here, we need to promote these things out there in the ethos, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Tumblr, everywhere. We got to put this out and share, please. If you're just joining us, please share these programs. That is how we make a difference. We got to share. We got to support each other. Bruce Pollard says, "My Trump is a TV show star where you can write the script." That's funny, Bruce. Bree says, if you read MT book, you would see how he has been made into what he is. I know she gave, what's her first name? No, I forgot her first name, but Mary Trump, I think. Yeah. She goes ahead and tell the story. But here's what I was trying to tell you, Brige. I am not interested in knowing how he is or how he got that way, right? All I know is what he is. Let me tell you what I'm interested in the story of the average American citizen. I want to hear your story. In other words, I want to hear what made, if you're a good person, what made you a good person? If you did bad things and you're trying to get better, what is it that happened in you? I like to hear those stories from regular people. But I don't give a damn about Trump. I really don't care what made him as evil as he is. It does nothing for me to learn that he had a lousy dad and that his dad, I don't care about that. Because the fact of the matter, he has murdered a whole lot of people with his sycophants. Well, you know what I'm saying. All right, let's see. Trump just brokered the establishment of normal diplomatic relations between Israel and the UAE. You mean UAE? Look, what Trump did is something that was in the works for a long time. And what Trump did also is, we have to remember, it's all about money. You know what drives me crazy is you have the Palestinian issue and you have Palestinians fighting Jews and all that kind of stuff, right? But here's a dirty little secret. Behind the scenes, everything is about money. And if you think for 1 minute that the plutocracy in Saudi Arabia and the plutocracy in Israel and the plutocracy in UAE and all these places don't break bread together, you are dreaming. When Israel blow up something, it's sort of a game. Okay, you got me. You notice most of the times they only blow up things, but they don't blow up the protagonists. You ever notice that? Or they don't try to blow up the protagonists, meaning the leading characters. It's all the ancillaries that gets blown up. This isn't conspiracy or anything. I'm just saying. So think about that. We, the average middle class people, the average people that go out there and do a day's work every day, we're the pawns. So I don't, when I hear, treated with UAE and Israel, my thing is like, okay, cool. No big deal. All right, let's see what else we got here. Kathy gave me a shout out for calling out KPFT, of course. Frozen or no, we're not frozen. Sama Sir, that's my friend, great journalist that worked independent as well, did some work at KPFT as well. All right, let's see. Rod Williams, I don't think I saluted you, Rod Williams. Welcome aboard. All that doesn't matter. Trump, the first time up again, a white female, and his platform was white racist ideology. That's true. Bruce says, John Kasich speaking at demo convention next week. Yes, he is. The only problem I have with the Democratic convention is they only gave AOC 60 seconds. They gave AOC 60 seconds to speak. We want to bring in a lot of young voters, and we give AOC 60 seconds to speak. Sometimes you wonder, we take a couple steps forward, one step backward, couple steps forward. We got to do better. I can't believe that they're giving him time, but not their own. Oh, you see, Rose already knew that. Rose already knew that. Okay, Brige says, most people I have spoken to say they will still vote for Trump because they're sick of the media bashing him. Huh? No, that's what, Brige, that's what they're saying. Their real belief is otherwise. You remember what I said in that piece that I did before? People, between A and B. People look for any reason that's going to make them do what they really want to do. They know what they really want to do is wrong, so they're not going to do it. But if you give them a reason to do it, then you gave me a reason to do it. The media is bashing it, so I'll screw the country because the media is bashing Donald Trump. Yeah, right. But he says, where do you get those people going against their own? Are they paid? I think a lot of them are paid, but not all. Jesus, welcome aboard, Jesus. I don't think I saluted you. Or Kathy C. Courtney, I don't think I saluted you. Egberto, the Democrats are not any better. They just pretend to care. Yes. But you know what, Jesus? When you're pretending to care, you're also doing things that pretending to care causes you to do. I don't know what is in somebody's heart. And that's why I wrote the book as well, right? I assume even my right-wing brothers that I think support some very evil policies from very evil people. I think they are good people themselves. And what do? I engage them. That's why. Folks, you need to go get, what's the name of my book? It's Worth It. How to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors. And once again, I'm putting the link into the queue. So you can see the link again for the book in the queue. So please go ahead and get it. That is how you help support politics done right. Okay, so Jesus, that's how I feel. Bree says insecure people want power. That's when I was talking about cops. Kathy Courtney says mythology abounds, challenge with fact and truth. Absolutely true, Courtney. Kathy. Rose Williams says, I think Daniel is referring to the journalist who confronted Trump. Oh, okay. I thought he was talking about me because, you know, he's called me a POS before too. Okay. But thank you, Daniel, for really not hitting me up too hard today. Let's see. Also, we have agree regarding how Trump was made. Breach, MCP, AOC, 60 seconds. Yeah, that's all she got, 60 seconds. And Bree says, I just learned something there with A and B. Thanks. You just explained it better. Thank you so kindly. Thank you, Kathy, for going ahead and going to go buy that book. But please also, it's not enough to buy the book. Get your friends to get the book too. Please, I implore you, I ask you. That helps support what we're doing. But also, please go ahead and become subscribers. How do you become a subscriber? Go to politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. You know what I think I need to do? I probably need to also create an alias for that says politicsdoneright.com/subscribe. I think I'm going to do that as well. So anyhow, folks, thank you so kindly for spending this time with me. I could not do this at all without you. You are the one who makes this possible. You are the ones who I am working for. I promise you that. I'm working for you. I'm working for my daughter. My daughter is in med school. I want to leave her a better country. I want to make sure that when it's all over, when I'm done, when I'm dead, that I know I had done everything that I could as one individual United States citizen to leave it a better place than before. Unlike what the current crop is doing, leaving all a screwed up country for us all. That is what I really stand for. And by you being here, by you supporting us, by you doing all these things that you do as well, that is what we're doing. Positive affirmations. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you know how I end this, baby. I am what? Out. I'm Egberto Willies, host of Politics Done Right, an independent news program. I post several news videos of interest every day. I ask you so kindly to subscribe to my channel and please leave me some comments. Thank you very much.